The Solace family lived in an imposing Victorian mansion on the outskirts of the quiet town of Ravensworth. The house, with its cracked walls and ivy-covered facade, had been in the family for generations. Yet, beneath its grandeur lay whispers of a dark curse that had plagued their bloodline for centuries. Matriarch Evelyn Solace, a strict but loving woman, had always dismissed the rumors as superstition. She raised her 3 children, Arthur, Lena, and Clara, to be rational thinkers, never entertaining the town's gossip. But things began to unravel on Clara's 18th birthday. That evening, as the family gathered in the dining hall for the celebration, the air grew unnaturally cold. The candles flickered, and the grandfather clock in the corner, which had been broken for years, chimed 12 times. Moments later, Clara clutched her chest and collapsed. The doctor declared it a heart attack, but Clara had always been healthy. The family tried to move on, but the grief hung over them like a storm cloud. A week later, Arthur, the eldest sibling, was found dead in his study, his body slumped over an old leather-bound journal. The cause of death was ruled as a seizure, though no medical history supported this. On the desk next to him was a note he'd scrawled in shaky handwriting. "It's watching me." By now, Evelyn was frantic. She contacted the town's historian, an elderly man named Mr. Corbin, who reluctantly agreed to help. Together, they combed through old records and journals belonging to the Solace ancestors. What they uncovered was chilling. Generations ago, an ancestor named Elias Solace had been a wealthy merchant. Desperate to secure his fortune, Elias had entered into a pact with a shadowy figure who promised him immense wealth in exchange for a bloodline curse. Every few generations, the entity would claim members of the Solace family as payment, ensuring that the family's prosperity would continue at a deadly cost. Evelyn refused to believe it at first, but the debts continued. Lena, the youngest sibling, began having vivid nightmares of a shadowy figure standing at the foot of her bed, whispering her name. Despite Evelyn's efforts to protect her, Lena was found lifeless one morning, her face frozen in an expression of terror. Now alone, Evelyn realized she had to confront the curse. Following clues left in Elias's journal, she discovered that the pact could only be undone by returning the wealth Elias had gained. But there was a catch: the entity would only accept the return through blood sacrifice. Evelyn faced an impossible choice. To save the Solace name and end the curse, she would have to offer herself. On the anniversary of Clara's death, Evelyn lit a single candle in the mansion's attic, where the pact had first been sealed. She recited the incantation she found in Elias's journal, calling the entity forth. The shadow emerged, a shifting mass of darkness with piercing red eyes. Its voice echoed like 1,000 whispers. "You offer yourself willingly?" it asked. Evelyn nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Take me and spare what's left of my family." The shadow consumed her, and the mansion was plunged into silence. When the townsfolk found the house days later, it was abandoned. The remaining family wealth vanished, and the mansion fell into ruin. Years passed, and the Solace estate remained untouched, a crumbling relic of a tragic past. Most people in Ravensworth avoided the property, claiming to feel a cold dread just by looking at it. However, curiosity always found its way to the young and foolish. One such person was Daniel Solace, the great-grandson of Evelyn. Daniel, an ambitious archaeologist, had grown up hearing fragmented stories of his family's wealth and the mysterious mansion. His parents never spoke of it in detail, only warning him to steer clear of Ravensworth. But after finding an old letter from Evelyn addressed to the future of the Solace family, he became obsessed. The letter was brief but cryptic. "Our curse is dormant, not dead. Do not return unless you wish to awaken it. If you must, the answers lie in the attic." Intrigued and skeptical, Daniel dismissed the warnings as the ramblings of a grief-stricken woman. He saw an opportunity to explore his family's history and perhaps uncover hidden treasures buried in the mansion's ruins. Against his wife Clara's protests, an eerie coincidence that unsettled her, he set out for Ravensworth. When Daniel arrived at the estate, it was a shadow of its former self. Vines choked the walls, and the windows were shattered. But as he stepped inside, he felt an inexplicable pull, as though the house itself was alive and welcoming him back. He set up camp in the foyer and began his search. The letter mentioned the attic, but the stairs leading up were unstable, so he decided to explore the lower levels first. In the library, he found Solace's journal, filled with cryptic notes and symbols. One page caught his attention, a diagram of a hidden room beneath the house. Following the journal's instructions, Daniel pried up the floorboards in the study, revealing a narrow staircase leading to a secret chamber. The air was thick and cold, and the faint sound of whispers echoed as he descended. In the chamber, he found a collection of strange artifacts, a dagger, a bowl encrusted with dried blood, and a wooden chest filled with gold coins. But it was the mirror in the corner that captivated him. Its surface shimmered like water, and when Daniel looked into it, he didn't see his reflection. Instead, he saw Evelyn, her eyes hollow and her mouth moving silently. Suddenly, her voice rang out in the room. "You should not have come. The curse sleeps no longer." Before Daniel could react, the shadows in the room began to move, coalescing into the same dark figure described in the family's journals. Its eyes burned red as it spoke. Another Solace to settle the debt. Daniel stumbled back, clutching the dagger he had found. "I don't believe in your curse. This is just a story," he shouted. The figure laughed, a sound that shook the walls. "Then run. See if your disbelief protects you." Terrified, Daniel fled the chamber, but as he reached the foyer, the house began to change. The walls groaned, the windows sealed themselves, and the staircase to the attic seemed to stretch impossibly high. Shadows danced along the walls, whispering his name. Desperate, Daniel remembered Evelyn's letter and knew he had to reach the attic. He climbed the unstable stairs, each step feeling like it might give way. When he finally burst into the attic, he found a circle of candles surrounding an old family portrait. In the center was a blackened book, the same book Evelyn had used to summon the entity. As the shadow crept closer, Daniel grabbed the book and began to read aloud, hoping to banish the curse. The words burned his throat, but the shadows recoiled, hissing in fury. The attic shook violently as the entity screamed, its form dissolving into smoke.